So we are focusing this month on piti, the fourth factor of awakening. And I wanted to talk today about how piti really is Dhamma joy, the joy that can arise from our practice and in our practice. And I found some definitions and ways of describing it. Satisfaction that arises from meditative practice, a quality which suffuses both the body and mind, happiness arising during meditation, refreshes the mind and body, happiness, pleasure, rapt interest, a specific kind of energy and feeling in the body, mind, and heart that naturally and organically unfolds as a result of the previously developed awakening factors. So let's just think about what we hear in these definitions. Really points to this piti, joy, being a whole body, mind, and heart experience that energizes and that comes out of the previous awakening factors of mindfulness, investigation, and energy. This is a joy that is sort of different from how we usually think of joy, right? It's not dependent on something pleasant happening or being here. It's that happiness, peace, relief that arises in our practice when we relate to what's here with care and acceptance and interest. When we're not pushing it away, not hijacked by whatever's arising, we're not trying to control it, we're not identified with it. When we really are willing to allow and connect with whatever is here as it is. That kind of relationship with what is arising and moving through does bring a kind of joy in our practice, leads to a sense of clarity and wisdom and kindness. It made me think a lot of one of my favorite chants. It's in Pali, but the English translation is, "All conditioned things are impermanent. Their nature is to arise and pass away. Knowing this, living in harmony with this, brings the greatest happiness." Again, it's like joy, the greatest happiness from just being with things as they are, just as they come and go, knowing that. Don't we all sort of know that? It kind of might seem strange, but I think you all have had experiences, these moments when you really know about this. You really know that it's true, that everything is moving and coming and going. When we set down the struggle, these are precious moments. Joseph Goldstein often talks about his ongoing struggles with fear showing up in his practice, and also working with the resistance and frustration and aversion to it that he often felt, wanting it to go away, seeing it as in the way, right? This obstacle. If that fear wasn't here, my practice, it would just be humming. I'd be great, right? I think we all can relate to that, whether it's fear or something else. And a moment in his practice that was really transformative for him, where he really knew in that total mind, body, heart way, if this fear is here for the rest of my life, it's okay. If this fear is here for the rest of my life, it's okay. And that moment really changed everything for him. We can hear the acceptance, the care, compassion, that kindness for the experience of fear. It's okay. It's okay. It doesn't mean anything wrong is happening. It's just fear. That everything arises and passes. We know the feelings will move through and come and go, that this is their nature. And he could be with that and be patient with that, right? When the heart and mind can be patient and allowing in that way, there is a lot of peace and happiness. And this is that joy of piti. And these moments, right, as that one did for him, can have a huge impact in our practice. It's energizing in that way. That's kind of how we recognize it. These glimmers of actually being able to relate to what's here with some basic okayness. It uplifts, it clarifies, it brings relief, it nourishes us. But there's a lot that can make that really hard, which we all know, right? These patterns we can get really caught in of perfectionism, striving in our practice, identification with whatever's here, delusion about what we can control or make happen, this sense that like things should just be happening faster or should be other than they are, and the doubt that can arise as a result of all that. Am I doing this right? What's wrong with me? Am I even good at this? You know, why isn't it feeling better? It's hard. I I had a recent online 5-day retreat where some of this I got to be with. The retreat itself was absolutely wonderful, but what was present and predominant in pretty much all of my sitting and walking meditation was the energy of sleepiness, kind of torpor, uh, distracted, foggy, scattered mind. It was really difficult to concentrate or sustain my attention. And then there would be these moments when that would kind of lift, right? And I would get really attached to that and think like, oh, great, I finally did something right. It went away. And then it would come back and I would get kind of bored and discouraged again and kind of didn't want to practice, which is rare for me, kind of felt like a slog. And I was really helped by the kind support and wisdom and humor of the teachers. You know, 2 days in, I asked about this like relentless sleepiness, and there was so much lightness and laughter and loving resonance, like, haha, you know, it's only 2 days, you know, that's really not a whole lot of time. Um, and the like, haha, yep, yeah, not being able to focus at all or sustain the attention. I think we all can get that, yeah, right? Just kind of really normalizing. Help me remember, right? I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just sleepiness. Um, how tight I was around it all. And again, that reminder, which I need 10,000 times, that it really doesn't matter what is arising. What matters is our relationship to it. And then hearing the questions that others brought in, the benefits of Sangha, right? Hearing what they were struggling with, what they wanted to be different or thought should be different. And just recognizing, like, oh, right, this is human. We all have resistance and aversion and want what's happening to be different and think we can control it. And we all get stuck in our practice around that. So all of that connection also brought a little more lightness, a little more willingness to get curious. I made up a little chant that helped, which was nothing to do, no one to be. It's okay. Let go, little me. Because, like, I wasn't letting go. I was fighting what was happening. And I thought it wasn't aversion. I actually thought that I was making room to be with sleepiness, but really it was that kind of subtle aversion that's like, okay, if I be with this for a little while, maybe it will go away. It's not real curiosity. But when we let go, right, there is that possibility for a different kind of relationship with what's here. I could begin to set down that striving or insistence that my retreat experience looks some way, or that I should have perfect sustained attention. My mind should be perfectly clear, my heart open. It wasn't that way. And even since then, hasn't really been that way in my practice. But so similar to Joseph Goldstein, right? If it's here, it's okay. And the learning in this as well. I think this is also my system kind of forcing me in its own wisdom to see that the constant efforting and striving and doing, it's not leading to freedom or happiness. And it's not in line with the Dhamma. But I have to keep getting the message, right? To be with and get to know sleepiness, and maybe be willing to hear the underlying exhaustion that's with me, that often doesn't get heard or allowed or cared for. And I also want to kind of say the aversion and frustration that I felt in relation to it, and that Joseph Goldstein felt in relation to his fear, this is really important to see and be with as well. This was exactly as it should be, right? Can we be okay if aversion comes and goes for the rest of our lives? We likely have to be okay with that. We better build a relationship with it if it's going to keep coming here. And seeing that aversion too, right? It's not personal, it's just conditioned. It comes and goes. It's not in the way. It's what our practice is helping us see and build a relationship with. How much out in the world are people just ruled by aversion, not noticing it even, not curious about it? We can have these moments, right, of knowing it, and being free. So ultimately, even though a lot of what happened in that retreat was sort of unpleasant, uh, it really nourished me in this kind of pitta, joy of the Dhamma, joy of the practice way. It brought some energy and faith, much more kindness into my practice again. And so I just want to kind of hold this, and this idea of piti as a reminder that it can be light, right? We can be light with this. We can remember there's the possibility of joy in the Buddha, connecting with our own Buddha nature, trusting our basic goodness, joy in the Dhamma, in really knowing and being with the truth of how things are, and joy in the Sangha, this loving connection, support with others who are on the path. So all conditioned things are impermanent. Their nature is to arise and pass away. Knowing this brings the highest happiness. Thank you for your attention. Let's really gently transition to practice. Just giving some time for that, knowing that whatever landed will land, everything else can fall away. Letting the attention move a bit, down into the body. I see people stretching, moving. Just check and see, what does my body need in this moment to come into as much of a comfortable, supported, open posture as I can today. Maybe allowing some movement in places that typically hold tension for you, like the shoulders, the neck, the softening in the brow or the jaw. always can be helpful to feel for a couple deeper breaths than usual. That energizing in breath, and that settling, soothing out breath. And sometimes it can be helpful to move back and forth or side to side or in circles, kind of at the base, just to feel for balance, balance at the root, and then allowing that sense of uprightness, openness to be in the whole length of the spine. And no pressure if there are parts of the body that are cranky or tight, right? We're not forcing anything. And perhaps notice the energy that's here with you today, that you're coming in with. There's a lot of preoccupation or restlessness, stress in the body, tension, where maybe it's a little more relaxed. Just very gently feeling that sense of coming in for a landing, moving a little more into stillness, the attention a little more connected inside, while also aware outwardly. Perhaps letting the attention rest with the anchor of the breath moving, or sounds coming and going. Sensations maybe in the hands. And on offer, just noticing what our attention gets pulled to, appreciating the noticing. And seeing if we can be curious about whatever arises, as if it really has a right to be here.